Day 7 was my first full day in LA, and ultimately ended up being probably my favorite day of the whole trip. I did a lot, and it was just a lot of fun. But it started in the morning. Um, I already knew what I wanted to do. It was a Sunday morning, and I had looked up the hours of the Lighthouse Cafe, which, if you know me, you know I love La La Land. And this cafe is where they shot some of La La Land, so I wanted to go check it out. And they just so happened to have a Sunday morning brunch, which I thought was really cool. So I went and got to just enjoy the cafe. Good food, but even better music. Yeah, so that was really cool just to see all that music and get to just enjoy that. That was a lot of fun. I actually ended up getting to sit in the seat where they filmed the movie, which I thought was awesome, and just really enjoyed that. And as I was leaving, I saw they had some hats hung up, so of course, I had to buy one. Um, Going along with my theme of buying hats at things I did, but also just because I love jazz and love La La Land, so that was a necessity to get. And that was a great start to my morning because it was along a pier, so I got to kind of enjoy the beach and stuff some too, and just had a great morning with that. And then I had some time to kill, so I decided that while I was in LA, I would go do the Hollywood Star Walk of Fame, which, if you don't know what that is, it's just along the main Hollywood streets. There are all of these stars with names of actors, musicians, celebrities, directors, whatever, just a lot of famous people. And so that was something I knew I had to do as well. And I went, didn't really have a lot in mind of who I wanted to see, but I did have a few that I had to see, like, you know, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. I had to get the Star Wars people. I knew I had to get one of the best directors of Steven Spielberg, and I had to see some people like that. But then along the way, it was pretty fun because I saw some pretty cool ones of some musicians like Phil Collins, Randy Newman, the Monkees, um, and several others. But then also some actors like Keanu Reeves, Paul Rudd, Dwayne Johnson, and then even some fun ones, some like important characters like Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse, the Muppets, Kermit the Frog, um, and even just some other fun ones I saw that were pretty funny. Like I saw a Donald Trump, which was, I don't know why that was there, but it was funny. And then some other important ones like Walt Disney and just a lot of other people. Too many to name, but it was cool just to walk down that street and see some people that are important to media history and just film, music, the entertainment industry in general. So that was a cool experience, and I didn't spend a whole lot of time there, to be honest, because I had a busy day planned out. So I was maybe there about an hour or so, but still saw so many names and got to just kind of take in that moment, which was pretty cool. Something I've always wanted to do. And then after that, I had booked an appointment reserved for the Warner Brothers Studio tour, which was so cool. So I get there, and as soon as you walk in, they have this Bugs Bunny, and Daffy Duck. That was really fun statues just to take photos with as like a welcome to the studio tour. And then it was cool because they had this gift shop, and at the gift shop there was so many fun things. Like I thought this Bugs Bunny Golden Globe was really fun. They had a ton of different just themed stuff. They had this hat that I ended up buying, celebrating the 100th year of Warner Brothers, which I thought was cool. How I happened to go on the 100th anniversary year, which huge milestone, and it just says celebrating every story. So I got that, and then it was cool because for the studio tour, they take you on a tour of their backlots. And if you don't know what that is, it's just different sets and buildings that they use in different movies. And you'd be surprised how many movies use those backlots. They can really spice it up to make it look like anything they want. These steps right here are used in the old Batman TV show whenever they'd walk up the stairs to ask for what the call was. And several other shows have used this as well. And it's just a really cool piece of cinematic history to see all of these different buildings that may not look like much, but you've seen them in a ton of movies, whether you know it or not. And then what was cool was while we were on the backlot tour, they asked a question of like, oh, so what are some of your favorite movies? And I answered, like Star Wars, La La Land, etc. And they looked at me and were like, oh, La La Land. And I was like, yeah. And they said, oh, 1 second. So she pulls over and radios in with her boss and says, hey, is lot 21 open? And I was just like, I don't know what that is, but whatever. And the boss replied like, yes, it is. So she gets off the call and says to all of us on the tour, all right, we're going to make a quick detour. We don't normally show people this, but since you said your favorite movie was La La Land, we're going to show you this. So we went off the tour and went on a different route, and we pulled up to this building, and she says, so since you like La La Land, I thought you would want to see this because this is actually the cafe that Mia works at in the movie. And I was like, whoa, that was awesome. So she let us go in and take photos of it and explain to us how they like transformed it into that cafe. So I had a great time in there because even though it was very empty at the time, it was so cool just to be in a spot where they filmed one of my favorite movies. And that was just super cool of them to do that after me telling them that was one of my favorites. So then we kind of went back on the tour and got back on the route. And at this point, they started showing us some of the sound stages, which, if you don't know what a sound stage is, it's different than a backlot, because a sound stage is where it's almost completely insulated to where no sound escapes it, and you can use it to do different sets. You typically have multiple scenes for different sets, like they showed us different sitcoms and how they had the scenes of those sitcoms all set up, but then, it's all in one building and it's just room by room, and they took you through how they operate that. They took us to several. Some of them we couldn't take photos of. We could only take photos of like the sign, not necessarily the inside of it, but we did get to Soundstage 16, which is, fun fact, the largest soundstage in North America, and it is a huge piece of cinema history. I took a photo of it, not sure like how clearly you can see, but it tells you what all has been filmed in there, and it's absolutely crazy to look at and see just how big of a piece of history that soundstage is. Christopher Nolan filmed part of Inception, Dunkirk, Interstellar in there. Um, there was Jurassic Park that was filmed in there, part of Ghostbusters that was filmed in there, and just so many other movies that were just really cool to walk in. I wasn't supposed to take videos, but I did kind of sneak this one in just of a like quick look of how big it really is, and that was just such a cool thing to be at. And the movie nerd in me at this point was like over the moon in excitement, just because like getting to stand where all of this history took place was just so cool for me, and I was just in awe. So that was so cool, such a cool moment. And then we continue on with the tour, and they take us to their creative studio museum is what they call it, and it takes us on a tour of like how their creative process works. Pre-production, all of the phases of that, production, post-production, all of it, and they show us like just how they do each of it. And I thought that was really cool, just getting to see kind of how they operate. As someone in the industry, getting to see it on that scale was really cool, and something I definitely enjoyed. And then at the end of that, there's this kind of self-guided part of the tour where you get to see the set of Friends and the Big Bang Theory. So I took pictures of both of those just because that was pretty cool. And then you come to a Harry Potter section where it's all like Harry Potter themed, and different interactive photos you can do. I got sorted into what house I was right here.
I will tell you where you ought to be. Brave at heart, daring, better be Gryffindor!
So yeah, I got Gryffindor, and that was just a fun little thing to do, and enjoyed taking some of these photos. But then after that, there was a DC section where it was like a DC museum basically, and that was awesome because there was so many like authentic pieces of movies from that, such as the actual costume worn in the Flash and Arrow TV shows on the CW, like those actual costumes from that. There was all of the costumes from the Justice League movie. There was the Batman costume from the Batman, some Batman villain costumes such as Mr. Freeze, the Riddler from the new movie, but the coolest one was definitely seeing the actual purple jacket that Heath Ledger wore in The Dark Knight, and just that actual costume. That was so cool. And I was just like having a great time because there was all these different interactive things to do. But even more cool things I got to see were this bat bike from The Dark Knight Returns, a bat helicopter from one of the films, and the classic Batmobile right here, which was the actual one they used in it, which I thought was awesome. So just getting to see all of these like authentic pieces of movies and movie history was really, really cool for me, and something that I will never forget. It was such a like just inspiring thing for me to get to see all of that and so much more. I mean, they had some of the first issue of comics where certain characters premiered. They had a ton of different like photos from sets. They had different memorabilia, a ton of stuff there. So that was just like one of the coolest things was to see all that. And then at the end, as you're kind of walking out, they let you take a photo with an actual Oscar, like an actual. I think mine was like 1937 sound editing or something. I don't remember if that's exactly true, but I did take a photo with it here, and that was just cool to get to hold that. So yeah, the Warner Brothers Studio Tour was such a great time, and I can't talk enough about how much I loved it and enjoyed it. It was just so fun, so full of history, so full of just movie magic, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of it. That was one of the highlights of my trip. But by this time when the tour was over, it had kind of taken a bit, and so it's starting to get near the end of the evening, but the sun was still up, and that meant I knew exactly what I had to do. As I've talked about, I'm a big La La Land fan, and a lot of La La Land was filmed in LA, obviously. Well, something I knew I had to do in LA that I had planned for a while was go to Sunset Hill, or the actual name for it is Kathy's Corner. It's a spot in the Griffith Park in LA, where they do a tap dance sequence in La La Land. So that was kind of crazy to get to. First of all, I knew where it was. I'd already mapped it out, and so I went to go there. But the quickest way to it was actually closed off due to a fire in the park that day. So I couldn't go that way. So I had to go all the way around, which in LA traffic added about 20 to 30 minutes. And at this point, I'm starting to look at the clock and see that I'm really cutting it close for sunset. But I find a parking spot, and I start hiking. I just knew it would be a lot longer of a hike now. So I start hiking up there, and yes, I did actually go up in nicer clothes, because I was determined to get a photo up there, kind of recreating the poster. And so I got to walk past the Griffith Observatory, which also was in the movie, and it's just really cool to see. And then just kept walking. It ended up being about a 2.5 to 3 mile hike to the spot. So I was kind of booking it. I was not missing sunset on this hill. So I get there about 10 minutes before sunset probably, and just got to watch. And here's me as soon as I got to it. Alright everyone, here we are at Kathy's Corner, also known as Sunset Hill. This is the scene right here in La La Land where they do their tap dance. It's these poles and this tree right here. Y'all, this is awesome. I love it. So cool just to be standing where they stood and see the tree that they danced at, and man, it's gorgeous. This is cool. So yeah, I clearly was just over the moon in excitement right here. The sunset starts going down, and it was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I see why it's nicknamed Sunset Hill, because it is such a great sunset. Just watching it set over the mountains in the background, over the city that's in view, just everything. It was breathtaking. And as a La La Land nerd, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is actually where they were, and loved that part of it. And then, right here as the sun is almost set, I got a photo of me taken, because I had to. That was a must-do for this trip, was take a photo recreating Ryan Gosling's pose in the poster on Sunset Hill. And I did just that, and that might be one of my favorite photos of all time. But a really cool story about this hill, I explain it here, and I just had a really cool experience that I'm about to explain. Well, end of day 7. So I'm 1 week in with 1 week to go. And what a day, man. Can't even describe just how satisfying that day was. And I will look back on that day as one of my favorite days ever. It was just, everything was so good. And it was really cool. I got to, as I was on Sunset Hill, another group of people came up, and we started talking, and turns out they were there for the same reason, was to see the scene from the movie. But as we kept talking,
they were a group of young Christian filmmakers that I started talking to, and just had a lot in common with them, and really cool just to meet other people like me in that area, and um, yeah, that was really fun. I ended up walking back with them because it was about a 2.5 mile hike to the spot, but it was really fun to walk back with them. So yeah, just a great ending to a great day, and now tomorrow we got one more day in LA, and we are gonna live it up by going to Super Nintendo World. So stay tuned. It's gonna be another great day.
So yeah, that was just super cool to get to meet those people and do that Sunset Hill with people up there who felt as passionate about it as I did, and then just get to walk back with them and talk with them. On my drive home, it was about a 40-minute drive or so. I was just like pure bliss of just all the day, seeing so many parts of La La Land, seeing so many parts of movie history, seeing the Hollywood sign here, just so many places. Like, as the movie nerd I am, that day was just one of the like best days of my life. Honestly, I was so excited and just so in awe that I got to be there and see all of it. So that was such a good day, and I will look back on that day for a long time. I am not even kidding. I will go back to Sunset Hill at some point. Like, that's such a beautiful spot, and I love that movie, so I'll never get tired of it. It was a great day. So thanks for sticking with me. I know this one was a little longer, but this was just such a good day I had to talk about. And then um, part 9 is coming up, part 8, whatever it was. Day 2 in LA will be next. So stay tuned, but thanks for watching.